Well, hello, good people from the YouTube. This is I, Graham, coming to you with another video on the Lotus Birkin build that we're busy with. Still lockdown. In the meantime, winter has hit us. It is bloody cold. Finding equipment and parts and stuff during lockdown is proving to be very, very difficult. But in this video, the objective is very, very simple. Spin the motor, which probably hasn't spun in 10 odd years, and achieve oil pressure, which is quite a significant step, as many engine builders will tell you. The moment we know that we've got oil pressure, we could probably move on to making plans to actually start the motor. So that's definitely a win. You know that we were delayed quite a bit with finding, I'm looking for it, with finding black wire with a red stripe. Black wire with a red stripe. Big shout out to Jacques van Onselen. Link to his website and company in the description. They make automotive wire, and he hooked us up with way more wire than what we actually needed. And I asked him, I said, Jock, but that's way more than what I needed. I needed like 3 meters. And he's like, that's the sort of smallest amount my machine can make. So Jock, thank you very much. You've really helped us in our build process to move forward. And we'll give some report back on that just now. But without further ado, and without too much of drama, we're going to try and get the motor to a point where we can spin it and take you on the journey with us. Let's go. Hey guys, this is me from the future. This video is exciting. I can give you a small spoiler. We do achieve oil pressure, but you will have to watch the video to see all the drama that we had to go through to actually achieve oil pressure. It was not easy. Couple of things. Number one, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, please. It makes no difference in your life, but it makes a massive difference to us if you hit the subscribe button. During lockdown, we've achieved 1,000 subscribers, which, I mean, it's not a big thing with guys out there that does 6 million and 5 million and 2 million subscribers. But for us, out here in little old South Africa, working out of a garage in Centurion, it makes a massive difference in my life when you guys actually subscribe. So please hit the subscribe button. Now, the next video that you're going to see coming out of here is not going to be the car starting, as I'll say later in the video, but it's definitely going to be a giveaway to celebrate our 1,000 subscribers. We've chosen a very nice tool bag that we're going to go and buy from a local shop, and we will ship it to wherever, but more about that in the next video. Enjoy this one, and please watch to the end. It also makes a difference to us on this YouTube algorithm stuff if you guys actually watch the video to the end. Hope you enjoy it.
Meanwhile,
so we very quickly wanted to get you guys a view of this black and red wire. So that black and red wire, let me get the diagram for you guys, see if I can get that right. So on here you've got the ignition relay, and on the ignition relay you've got pin 87. Now almost anything in this car that gets power from the alternator and the battery and whatever somehow ends up at pin 87. So let's just skip that one over there. So if you look at this diagram over here, I must just remember to put a link to this file to my Google Drive or something. But so here's your oil pressure gauge. You run it down here, it goes through its fuse and to pin 87. Right, so almost everything in this car runs to pin 87, and that's the importance of the black and blue, and the reason or the black and red, sorry, this the reason I didn't want to compromise on that. Here's your fuel gauge, and it runs down there, and it runs to its appropriate fuse, and pin 87. Right, and so we can go through, and I'm just skipping a few pages over here. This here is the amperage gauge, and from the alternator over there, we're running through its appropriate fuse over there, if it wants to focus on that fuse so you can see it. And then it runs down to, you guessed it, pin 87. So yeah, pin 87 is really important, the relay for the ignition. And yeah, this is obviously where we're using all of this black and red wire, and it has to be replicated very many times, as you can see, and there just ain't enough space at the bottom there, I found, to loop them. So I went with chocolate block connectors over here to try and get them linked to everywhere. Alrighty, so we've run into a pretty serious issue with the starter. Now this is the starter that came with the kit, and as you've noticed from our series of videos, we've not had awesome experience with the parts that came with the kit necessarily. Now you can see what makes the starter very special is this modification that was done to it over here, and that is specifically to make sure that it will fit onto, well, both the Toyota flywheel where the gear sits that we need to turn to start the motor, and also onto the Ford gearbox that we're marrying this whole thing into, because the Toyota originally is a front wheel drive car, and obviously now we're making that into a rear wheel drive car. And the problem is that it sounds like this starter is running on top of that gear and not actually engaging the gear. Either that, or there's something wrong, that it doesn't seat properly. But it would appear that we're going to have to do a little bit of research. I'll get back to you.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Well, alrighty then. It's a couple of days later. We've done loads and loads of research. We've reached out to a few people that's been kind enough to help us. A specific massive shout out yet again to Wayne Silvester, who's our trusted friend and advisor in this project. Wayne, you're a legend. Thanks, buddy. You've helped us so much. And what we figured out is if you measure lobe to lobe, let's just do that there, lobe to lobe on this starter over here, and hang on, let me quickly measure this thing, and I'll get back to you guys. Okay, right, so measuring lobe to lobe, and I really hope that you can actually see that. We are 12 millimeters, and apparently what we're looking for is 10 millimeters. Okay, so it would appear that I need to go and do some shopping, and my options at this point are very simply to find another gear and replace it on this starter that's already been modified, find another modified starter, or buy a new starter and start from scratch. None of those really sound like fun. I'm just going to be honest about that. But let's see what we can do.
Several bad puns later.
Right. So many days have passed since our last recording. And many things are frustrating us right now. If the Birkin is looking dirty, that's because we've also been doing some home improvement projects, a little bit of woodwork, because we have to keep busy, and with lockdown, you know, not losing your mind. And we also we battled to get spares. So again, shout out to Wayne Silvester. That other starter is on its way here. Movement during lockdown is quite difficult. People don't allow you to go into estates and to go fetch stuff, and you have to have permits and all kinds of things. So yeah, starter is on his way. In the meanwhile, we reached out to our mate Julio from Siri Auto Services in Hennep's Park here in Centurion, and he hooked us up with a brand spanking new Toyota starter that is a good replacement unit to the factory unit for these RSI, RXI type motors. Now, clearly, we're not going to be able to use this oak to do our testing to get oil pressure, or to check if we've got oil pressure for this motor, because she ain't modified. Remember in the previous insert I showed you guys the modification that had to be done on this oak to be able to marry up to the Ford gearbox. This oak is not modified, and I'm not about to go and modify a perfectly good brand spanking new starter unless I know that what we're trying to do with it is actually going to get the job done. So shout out to Julio, thank you very much. Link to his Facebook page down below. He works on all kinds of exotic cars. If you guys need some help or some services done, give him a shot. He's really willing and able to help. Alrighty, so that's where we are today. We'll catch up with you very, very soon. As soon as we get that starter from Wayne, and at that point we will see if we can fit that up to the gearbox and hopefully get some oil pressure.
Just then.
Alrighty then, so more days have passed, and down there is one starter supplied by Wayne Silvester. Thanks, Wayne. And with the levels of frustration at the moment, I told you earlier that we're not going to do a great job on the wiring over here. So here is our positive wire going directly to our battery, and on the other side over there we've got the a black wire coming up here, which I just made shift, and this is going to represent our our starter button to get this motor to hopefully turn. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to wire up a makeshift oil light. Now that is quite interesting. If you look at the oil pressure sensor over here, basically what that is a ground. Okay, so that is a switch to ground. So this is your ground wire, and the other half of this will go to obviously pin 87 of the relay, which is going to give it its positive side. And how it works is that when we don't have oil pressure, this is the furthest point of the oil channel. If we don't have oil pressure, then the light is on because the circuit is made. And then when we do achieve oil pressure, so think about the red light on your dashboard. When we do achieve oil pressure, the light goes off because this switch disconnects over here. So that's effectively how oil pressure works. Now, I told you previously that our motor hasn't run in a very long time. So what we've done is we've removed our spark plugs. Because we're concerned about electric issues, we've removed our alternator, so that we don't have any power coming back into the system. And what we've done is we've used penetrating fluid to douse the engine in, and this thing's almost, okay, it's almost empty. We've put lots and lots of penetrating fluid into the pistons a day ago, onto the valves, onto anything that we believe is going to move, just so those things can loosen up a little bit. Now also keep in mind that we currently have break-in oil, cheaper of the correct type of oil, inside the motor, just to see that we've got oil pressure. And we're probably going to start the motor with that same oil, and then we'll drain it and put in some fresh oil. Okay, so let's wire up our makeshift oil pressure light, and then we're going to swing this motor and hope and pray that the light goes off, which will indicate the fact that we've got oil pressure. I'll be back with you in a couple of seconds, or a couple of minutes.
Later.
Alrighty. The part of the oil light will tonight be played by the indicator. This is the light, or the quickest light we can get our fingers on, that's got a globe inside it. We carefully wired that up to the switch over there that we showed you earlier. Remove the spark plugs, put lots of penetrating fluid in there. You know that we use Motul in this garage, or shall I say a lot of Motul in this garage. It would be so awesome if Motul sponsored this channel. Just putting it out there, just saying, because their penetrating fluid is quite cool. Alright, so, any case, getting back to this thing. We've wired up the other side of the indicator light to the positive terminal over here, and to recap, if we get a light over there, it means that we do not have oil pressure. Now it's worth mentioning that we've primed the entire system. We've put oil into everything. These lines are oiled up, the oil filter is oiled up. We've put oil into everything that we possibly can to try and ensure that we're going to achieve oil pressure in the shortest possible time, because as I mentioned, this motor hasn't run for many years, and we are quite concerned about this here next step. So let's go ahead and connect, and immediately you'll see our trusted oil light is on, meaning that we don't have oil pressure, and we're going to swing the motor to see if we can obtain oil pressure in 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's a bit concerning. Let's do that again. 3, 2, 1. Yes! And we have oil pressure. Whew. Alrighty, that's positive. Now, of course, if you leave this outstanding for a few minutes, we will lose oil pressure again, and the oil pressure light will come back on. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that to happen, I am going to take off the tappet cover real quickly to see if we've got oil coming out the top of the motor over here, which will, you know, just to confirm that the oil is actually coming up from the bottom. Cool. And as expected, probably about 2 minutes, the oil light came back on, meaning that we've lost oil pressure again, as it's supposed to happen. But if you look in here, beautiful golden oil all over the motor. Nice fresh oil on the lobes, just as we expected. Woohoo! That is an awesome result. So happy about that. Just to confirm, let's give the meter another swing. And oil pressure is off again, or on again, or there again. So happy about this. It means that we can go to the next step, which is to wire up the ignition and check if we've got spark, so that we can try and start this guy. This is a great result. Right, guys, couldn't be more happy with that result. We've got oil pressure. That means we're going to move on to the next thing, which is wiring up the ignition and getting the necessary stuff in place. Obviously trying to finish the wiring and start the car. Please hit the subscribe button on the video over there. It really helps us. Thank you for watching to the end, and we will see you soon with more awesome content. I feel very motivated by this. It's like there's new impetus to get going with this car. Thank you, guys. Enjoy.